that's fruity, or it's like, it tastes good. It tastes like shit. Like cigarettes taste like
Yeah.
crap, and then they kind of smell not the greatest for some people too. And then,
Yeah.
but like with vapes, it's like they don't smell bad or taste bad, and
Hmm.
there's the whole thought behind, oh well, they're better than cigarettes because it's not got tobacco in it,
Yeah, but the nicotine is like basically just all of the tar that you would expect of a cigarette. Like you get all the same tar in
The
your
nicotine
lungs.
is the addictive part, and it's even worse because the juice that they
Yeah.
put in it is just fucking chemicals.
Yeah.
It's just straight up fucking chemicals. They just chuck in it mixed with nicotine. So you're
Yeah.
basically just
And with
inhaling
the
chemicals. It's
carts
the same
too.
thing, you know?
The carts
Like,
too. That they
if
have
you're gonna,
it's
if
basically the
I
same
would
deal.
say, you're like, anything is bad when you have too much of it. Even weed is not great when you have too much of it. Because even though weed's like natural, because you know
Honestly, genuinely anything is bad if you have too much of it. Like
anything, well,
you
anyone
eat
can make
like
the
too many
point that like
grapes, eat too many apples, you get sick.
yeah, well, that's the thing though. A lot of people who like are addicted to stuff are saying like, oh, if you have too much of anything, it's bad for you. But it's like you gotta what's
Like some
pick
like
the
what's
things that
best for
are a
you.
little bit less impactful. Like if you eat, if you over indulge in grapes, I doubt it's going to impact you as severely as overindulging in
Well,
smoking.
you if you're like eating grapes to the point where you feel sick every day, I think that would be pretty detrimental to your health because
Yeah,
it'd be
but
harder
it's like
to live.
true. But again, my point is like if you're getting high to the point where like there's like barely any moments during your day that you're actually sober, and the
Hmm.
moments that you are sober you're thinking about not being sober and getting high again, or smoking, or you know uh, drinking. It's like I tried to tell my friend the analogy. It's like, imagine instead you're an alcoholic, because most people when they think about weed and being like high a lot, they don't see it as a terrible thing. Oh,
Hmm.
weed's not like alcohol, it's not as bad, right? But then I
Hmm.
tell them this, like, I'm like, well, you're right, weed isn't as damaging as alcohol, because alcohol is pretty damaging for you when you have a lot of it, and it can kill you straight up.
Hmm.
um, if you just have too much in one bit, it'll kill you. But
Hmm.
I tell my friends, like, well, weed is kind of like, with like an alcoholic, if they have like
Hmm.
a lot, like they'll wake up, they'll want to drink. During the day, they'll want to drink. Or
Yeah.
even like a functioning alcoholic, where it's like, if they come home after work, they'll want to drink. Like, they can't
Hmm.
go, a
Without.
couple days without having a drink. Like,
Yeah.
that's a functioning alcoholic, right? Whereas, um, you know, I kind of like say like, oh, okay, well, if that's what you consider an alcoholic, where being being sober to them is so unpleasant, they will go out of their way to do whatever they can to avoid being sober by consistently drinking. You can compare that to someone who's like addicted to weed, where they can't stand the thought of being sober, so they continuously get high to avoid being sober. Like,
Hmm.
if you're smoking where that is like your thought process during
Hmm.
the day, that you're just thinking about the next time that you can get high, or
Yeah.
when can you get high, or when can you, it's like the same as an alcoholic saying, when's the next time I can have a drink. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a problem. You should stop smoking at that point, especially some people, because it gets to a point where if you smoke too much and too often, you can develop um, a lot of schizophrenic like
Oh yeah. Like
tendencies.
Yeah, especially
Like
if
you
you
develop
smoke out
paranoia disorders,
before
and
you're
you can develop
25, while you're still developing. Yeah, that happens
yeah,
a lot
well,
more.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's the scary thing. I try to tell my friend, like, dude, if your therapist and you yourself are telling me that there's a good chance you probably have like borderline personality or bipolar or whatever it is, right? You should probably not be smoking as much. Because he's
Oh
saying
yeah.
like, oh, I need to get medicated weed and I need to like, I have to smoke more and I need to smoke more because it's what, you know, like it genuinely makes me like feel better. It genuinely, like I tell him like, no, because the more you smoke, the more risk you pose for one,
Yeah.
smoking to avoid finding better solutions to your problems. Smoking weed isn't solving these solutions, it's avoiding them.
I mean, also like that there are like certain like forms that are like can be medicated with weed, but the main difference between like, you know, being medicated and being like abusing a drug is the dosage. The dosage is
That,
key.
yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, and you know, I tell them as well is like one, you have to prove for it, and two, if you're being told that you are possibly bipolar or borderline, the chance that you're actually going to be accepted for medicated weed is not very high.
Yeah,
Down to the
especially
fact
if
that
you're, yeah, if you're like on it already, like, yeah, they
if you're
probably won't.
already, well, yeah, because the thing is, they're just gonna say, oh, it's recommended not because it got addictive. You already have an
Yeah,
addictive
or,
personality.
or you're already addicted to it. They probably would
You're already
medicate
addicted
him with
to it.
something
Like,
else, if
yeah,
anything.
that's the thing. And I told him like, and then he says, oh, but I don't want any other kind of medication. I'm like, well, that's fair. Why don't you try like cognitive therapy, like
Yeah,
other stuff that doesn't require medication that can still help? Because
and also
you know,
try to kind of
yeah.
cut back on the weed so that maybe, you know, you can get the right dosage. Work with your
Well,
doctor
the other
and get
thing
that
too is
dosage
like
weed.
weed. He is like very, 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 very depressed. I told him like
Yeah,
weed is not gonna help you with that because it numbs a lot of
yeah,
feelings and it subsides thoughts and rationality for like a temporary period, right? And it gives
yeah,
feelings of euphoria, right? And it
yeah.
calms you down and makes you less anxious because it clouds your mind more. But the
Hmm.
difficulty with that is when you're smoking more, so you can get high more often, you're doing it for a reason, and that reason is to avoid being sober, which
Yeah,
has all your issues, all the stuff that you need to deal with and confront and work through, you're avoiding by using a substance to cover it up. It's not an actual solution long term, it's like a temporary relief to make things feel easier, but it shouldn't be
well,
used like a crutch,
if
you know
he
what I mean?
if he is like really like, you know, um bipolar, right, or has BPD, and the doctor, like, you know, he could be medicated with that. It really just does come down to dosage. Like, he shouldn't be abusing it, or it'll
Oh,
affect his
well,
life
yeah.
too much.
But then the other thing I told him as well is you gotta be careful with this shit because, like, if you do a BPD, there's a good chance that you have a higher risk of getting, paranoia, like, disorders
Yeah,
and shit from weed.
yeah, that
And
especially.
that is proven. You
Yeah.
can, like, ask a lot of people, and it is, people will be like, oh no, that's not true, and this and that, or it's unlikely. Like, no, dude, if you have
Mm.
BPD, you are significantly at higher risk of developing paranoia disorders. You know,
Yeah,
hearing and seeing and things that aren't real, and
yeah, schizophrenic.
that to me is scary
Yeah,
because one of my old friends dealt with disorder like that, and
mm-hmm.
witnessing that her go through episodes like that is scary. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always you know, like mental health is such a tricky subject in general, and
Yeah.
it's very,
There's like
very, very, very complicated. But
so many different factors. Like, I mean, like
oh yeah,
human behavior on its own is already complicated enough, but then you add in some things that make it more tricky, you know, like
oh yeah,
addiction or other kind um, mental health issues. And then like, trying to figure out how like especially like how comorbidity affects each of them individually and like each of these disorders that we have, kind of codified exist on a spectrum which can affect each person vastly differently. Like it's just yeah.
I mean, it's just like it's it's not easy, you know, for anyone. I mean, mental health is something that everybody through their life consistently has. There's not,
Yeah.
you know, there's people who are better mentally off than other people, but everybody has their struggles. Everybody has periods where they aren't doing so well, and I
Yeah.
think, you know, growing up, the whole idea that, you know, I used to have was that there were people who weren't well, and then the people who were well. You know, and then some people had issues that they were born into, issues that they developed, and there's people who were just perfectly fine their whole life. And then
Yeah.
I used to feel envious and think like, how can you be like living your life and have like little to no issues and be perfectly like I would give anything to live a life where I was like that. And then I realized when you get older that it's like even people
Mm,
who are mentally well, you know,
yeah.
they still deal with issues because eventually problems come, issues
Yeah.
arise, and you know,
Definitely.
even time accidents can happen, stuff can cause things so that you know there's new problems for you to deal with and new ways that impact it. Like everybody deals
Yeah.
with mental health at different levels and at different stages, and for some people it's a lot more of a curve where it is an automatic impact to them that they can't control, that they're born with. Like people who are, are born with certain disorders and stuff that impact them. You know, that's like, you can't do anything about it. But you can always work to improve it so that you can live a life where you're feeling fulfilled and at
Hmm.
your happiest doing what you like doing and doing, you know, living the life you want to do, you know what I mean? Anyway,
Hmm. Yeah. That's
well, I
true.
mean, it's complicated for everybody, and
Yeah.
realistically, nobody in the world has perfect mental health, and everybody deals with different struggles at different times, and that's
Hmm.
okay because even people who are struggling more than others, you know, they have their moments where they're like, dude, I'm at my fucking prime right now. I'm having a great time. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working all these things, you know, I'm getting the assistance I need, you know, they're doing really well. And then there's times when, like, you know, people aren't doing so well.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
mm, anyway, but it's just, painful.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you still want to watch Andor?
Um, I just don't know if I want to like make you watch on a phone through a stream. You know.
I mean, it's fine. I could also go on my laptop too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on your laptop, that's probably better, right?
Yeah.
Right, why are you in like 480 fucking
Because I'm on my phone right now.
people? Oh, that's crazy. Oh my god. Guys, you know who I'm seeing next week?
Who's that?
I'm seeing Metallica play live with Everessence as the opener.
Wait,
Sounds
Metallica?
Yeah,
exciting.
the Metallica, dude. The
What
the
the hell?
yeah, the one and only Metallica. One of
That's
the
sick as
Yeah.
hell.
biggest metal bands. They're coming
I
to
didn't know they were
Australia.
still doing stuff.
Yeah,
No,
they
they.
do like reunion thing.
Yeah. See, the thing is, they weren't playing for a long time, and a couple years ago they were gonna come out here and play. Then one of the I can't remember which member of the band. I think it was the singer or the drummer. One of them had to go into rehab again. They relapsed, so
Yeah.
they got cancelled. Like they cancelled the tour, and then now they're like coming back again.
Metallica performed out of basically out of city at an event called Apple. It's pretty cool.
What'd you
One
say?
time I said Metallica performs like somewhat frequently, like every few years they go to our city at an event called Aftershock. They don't really do tours, but they just make an appearance basically. You know?
Nah, it's sick. Nah,
Yeah.
like it's a big deal when artists like this come to Australia because we're technically like a single continent. Like we're not connected to everything else. It's a little harder for musicians to travel to us. It's the same with them going to New Zealand. Like it's not exactly like an easy thing. We're like very out of the way. So when our artists actually do come to Australia, it's like a big deal.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, you're like all the way away from Europe and like America, and that's like